Hello guys, it's been a long time. I have had an interesting month where I have managed to dissect my re-encounter with my narcissistic mother after a winter of not complete but best that I could no contact period, about 6 months. We've had a few phone calls, two, three phone calls between us, but apart from that, not much contact, not the usual contact. So when I came back to the place I come in the summer, where it's the place where my mother lives, the island where my mother lives, I had an encounter with her. I mean, she came where we are, and that first visit was, she got to the point. She went to the point straight. Triangulation. She tried triangulation. She tried. Well, no, it was not so much. Triangulation comes in later. So she tried to demean me. She tried to compare me to my sister. She tried to gaslight me by denying things that happened or changing. When she was cornered, when she was cornered by me, telling her that you did this or that, she managed to make it look differently. And she tried. And then also, there was, a kind of triangulation, trying to tell me who said what about me or my husband. Anyway, it was long. It's a long 8-video dissection that I made in Greek. So I'm going to say it in a few words. So the first encounter was aggression, demeaning, name-calling. She also... warnings. So towards the end of the conversation, it was, she was trying to tell me about a part of our inheritance, which is on her name still, okay, that she and this is where the triangulation comes, your father told me to give it to your sister. So it's a piece of land, okay, and that land is 25% my sister, 25% me, and 50% my mother. This 50% is her tool to use us, to hoover us back in, or to scare us with this warning, you don't do that, I will give it to somebody else, or I will sell it, or whatever. So it's been used by her for many years. And at one point she said, your father told me to give it to your sister. I suppose that my father said that. Well, I'm sure. Because she's been saying that she was going to give it to a third party. A changeable third party, okay? One day it's the old people's home, one day it's the orphanage, one day it's my half-brother, my father's son, one day it's the gardener, one day it's the neighbor, you don't know. Anyway, she changes people like that. It's just to scare us. So, coming here, I had set my mind that I was going to not react and try out, see how it works, to let her speak. Because after watching a video of the little shaman where she expressed that narcissists do tell on themselves. So you just have to let them speak, and they will. So I thought I'll try that. And so I listened while she was... That first encounter with my mother, I was kind of talking back to her still. But in a very polite and in a way that she wouldn't get what she wanted, to aggress me, because she was poking and poking and poking. She was waiting for me to react. So she didn't get any reaction, bad reaction. It was not high volume conversations. Anyway, so to get back to the point of that, how she how she brought my father in, saying that my father told her to give it to my sister, of course, because she probably told my father, I don't want anything to do with that daughter of mine, me. She is shit, she's this, she's that. I'm gonna give my 50% somewhere else. And this is where my father came in and said, well, give it to your other daughter, knowing very well that between us, that we get on, and that we would find a way. I'm sure my father didn't think, saying that, he didn't think to create trouble. Okay, it was not in his... It was like, try and save that 50% from anybody, and at least it will be in the family. One of the daughters will have it, and they can settle it between them. But when my mother told me that, her intention, this is how we start to understand the narcissist, how they work, and how when we've had so much practice with them, okay, and I've seen so many ways and techniques they use, we know. We just know, we feel it. I mean, yeah, we're not therapists, yeah, we can't diagnose them, but if we can't, who can? If I don't know that my mother, when she's telling me that, she's only telling me to hurt me, because she knows very well that what will stick with me in my head is going to be that my father made a difference. My father is encouraging her to give it to my sister. So that is when I got the opportunity to go along with what she was saying, meaning give her the pleasure of what she's trying to tell me. So, and when your father told me that, to give it to your sister, I said to him, no way, because the other one is too good, and she will give it to her sister, meaning me. So she also adds something that was very triggering for me, would have been, if I hadn't decided to come in this and to act this way, the way that I did this time, and handle it the way that I did. She played that game because I have been near her for so many years, and I was the good one, the sensitive one, the one who cares. Okay, they label you. Sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's good. But when they give you that good label, and then they kind of take it back. So, obviously telling me that my sister is too good, she's not going to do that because my sister's too good, and it's going to give me my share after she's dead, after my mother is dead, replaces my goodness. Suddenly she's afraid of the good child, which is the other one. And the good meaning not the successful one, and I mean the good one, the one with the heart. Okay, so she replaced the title that she gave me for so many years, suddenly. And I was okay, now I'm not gonna go, what? Yeah, me, I'm the good one, and no. So I said, look, you don't have to worry. I said, my sister, when she's coming this summer, we've organized it, and I said, we're gonna go to the, not the lawyer, the people who write, anyway, who make contracts. And I'm going to give them my 25% because I don't want any part of that land anymore. For those who have been following me, that part of the land is where the pomegranates and where the olive trees are. So you know the story. And you've hurt me too much with that piece of land, and you keep on doing it, and you're using me like you're using that as a toy, you're having it because you're a good girl, I'm taking it back because you're a bad girl kind of game. And I said, I'm not having it anymore. I'm not interested. I didn't go into details. I just said, I'm not interested. I don't care about that part of land anymore. You've used it too much. So I'm going to give my part to my sister when she comes. And my mother was kind of shocked there. She didn't expect an answer like this, first of all. And being a narcissist, and I insist she is, being a person anyway, being a person who likes to hold other people by the leash, okay, and so there needs to be a leash. If there's no leash, you lost control of the other person. You don't know how to control them anymore. So that piece of land being the only thing that connects her to my neck, to my leash, and I suddenly give it away, she didn't know what to do about it. And there was a pause there, and then she said to me, you can't do that. And I'm like, I don't get you. I mean, you've said all the things you've said. You've made me understand that you don't want me getting anything. And because you're so afraid of me getting something, you prefer to give it to a stranger. And now you have the solution. The only reason you're not writing it to my sister, giving it to my sister, okay, is because she's afraid that she's going to give it to me. Well, she won't, because I don't want any part of it. And I'm proving it to her and to you by giving her my part. She left in a state of being very confused, not knowing what. You could tell that her mind was like, what's happening here? Well, I'm losing the grip, And she had 2 days to put her thoughts into order of how and organize her next move to try and get me back into the game. So there's a second video where there's a phone call between me and her. There's a phone call between her and my son. And it's kind of the evolution of a narcissist's thoughts and way of and behavior regarding their thoughts. So going to say it in order now how it happened. What happened is that she phoned up my son and told him that she was going to write on his name that 50% of the land. Okay, so now there is one generation. My sister and I were only 2, and then we have 8 children together. So there's 8 grandchildren. And she chooses one, okay? And it's always been her favorite one. I mean, my son, I consider my son the golden grandchild. And she is offering him now 50% of that big estate, that big piece of land with 2 houses. Okay, so the game. Where is the game? First, the woman doesn't care what situation she's putting my son in. Okay, 8 grandchildren. How are they gonna turn around and look at him? Anyway, gonna go into details because there was another meeting. After she has a phone call with my son phones me up and he says to me, my grandmother told me that she's gonna write in my name that 50% of the estate. It was a very difficult situation for me to try and explain to my son that she's using you to get to me. Okay, it's very difficult to say that to a child. And anyway, I said to my son, but it's a game. It's a game she's playing now because I said that and that. And she can't control me anymore. So she's trying to find a way to control somebody else through, to hurt me through that. Anyway, why not my son? So the next day she comes. Of course, I'm not supposed to know that she said that to my son. She made him promise not to tell me. Encouraging children to lie to their parents. And it's like I don't know anything. I'm going along. So she comes, and I was gardening with my son, my little one. And she comes with a great big egg, you know. He got a good present for once. This was all part of the hoovering. Because the day she came the first day, she didn't ask about my son. She hadn't seen him since last summer. She didn't ask about him. Where is he? She didn't ask to see him. She just went on, head on, to make us feel bad anyway. So the second time she came over, she came with a big Easter egg. He hardly ever gets any presents from her or anything. And if he does, it's always presents to demean him. Because let me see it. I didn't even realize. It's my son who said, why is always grandmother bringing me underage presents and clothes that are for girls, or socks with flowers, things like that. It's unbelievable. Anyway, so I was hoovering completely, you know, trying to be nice with my grandchild so they think that I'm nice. And then she comes to me while I was gardening and she starts about my sister. And criticize her in every way she can. Just listening, I'm not saying anything. And then she gets to the point, you know, they do say things, the way they talk, the way they open up the conversation to get to the place where they want, because I could tell that she wanted to get somewhere. So, what best way, you know? Your son. I'm, you know, being nice to your son. I'm going to criticize your sister, so you feel that you're better than her. And then you're ready to listen to what I have to say. This is how it works. And you will accept what I will tell you. But it didn't work that way. So she got to the point where she was like, you know, if I gave you part of that piece of land, it's because I want you to have it. I don't want you to give it to your sister. I mean, and you wonder, you know. You're ready to give it to anybody and then to take revenge on us. And then you come and tell me that I want you to have that piece of land. No, you don't really, because if you wanted me to have that piece of land, you would have given my sister and I your part of that, you know. Knowing and trusting that we are your daughters and we're not going to throw you out, or we're not going to treat you like shit, and then we're gonna let you stay there until you die. We're not gonna take advantage of it or take it under your feet. And but you're using it, really. What you're doing is you're using that. You need that to play us about it. When you're not happy with us, when you have that anger, when you need that narcissistic supply that you're not getting, you can't attack us with it or play us with it. Anyway, so I want you to have that piece of land. I don't want you to give it to your sister. I'm like, yeah, but I don't care anymore about that piece of land. You've been too mean with that piece of land. It's like, but it's not a sorry, or it's not, but I didn't mean it, or, I was too drunk, so I was, no. Ignore completely what I just said. She continues to try and make me decide, take back that decision I took. And she said, and if you give it to your sister, you're going to regret it one day, because you don't know who I'm going to give the 50% to. I was expecting that. And I go, no, I don't, and I don't care, really. Really, I don't care. It's been so many people, I'm getting dizzy, I don't care anymore. It's somebody that lives near you. She really wanted me to ask her, who are you going to give? Like, it's, she wants any sign that it's working, but she was not getting any. So I'm like, I don't care, I said. It's been so many, I'm getting dizzy. He lives next to you. It's somebody who lives very near you. So she was kind of playing the guessing game with me, and I'm like, oh, good. Not interested. Painting away, I was painting at that moment. I went to painting. And then she shouts. I mean, the recording, you have her voice. She was getting angry. Okay, that I was not reacting, that I was not biting the bait. And then she in an angry voice, she said, "It's your son." No, I wasn't. I didn't show nothing. Continued, like, oh, my son. Why would you mix my son into this? Because I like him. I like your son. And so the conversation went from there to me trying to tell her, yeah, well, I don't think it's nice what you're doing, because, I mean, he has two brother and sister and 5 cousins, I said, and he's not going to be put in a nice spot there, everybody's going to really look at him like you're the favorite kind of thing. Why would they do that? This is because he has a piece of estate from you that they didn't get any part of. And I could tell that she didn't really understand. Why would that be? Why can I not do what I like, Why should there be right or wrong? I could tell that. From the way the conversation goes, and the more I listen to the recording, the more I can, it's crystal clear how it works in their mind. So I'm saying, and that they're mixing their past with the present. It's very confusing in their soul, in their mind. Their past, what they've been through, with what they are creating now, again. So I was trying to explain to her that it's not fair, and that my son is gonna make enemies, because it's her choice to put that part of the estate on his name. I said, you have 2 daughters, and why should the son of one of your daughters take more? It's like you're preferring again one. And I said, all your life is like you're choosing one. You're choosing which one is going to be the privileged one. And this creates bad communication, bad relationships. I said, you have 2 daughters. The normal thing to do would be your two daughters inheriting from you. And from then on, the two daughters are gonna, doesn't matter how many children they have each, the daughters will share it between their children, You don't choose one. It's like, yeah, I saw how that happened. And I said, when? I thought she was going to talk about something, I don't know, something normal now, recent. No, she went flashback to her family. And she said, I saw how my father shared his, it's my sister who took everything. There were 3 sisters. It's my little sister who took everything. He gave her everything. Even your father, he told me that she was always the preferred one. Always, why did your father preferred your sister? I'm sure my father didn't say that, because this is the thing. The narcissists, they add a lot of salt and pepper. They do want the lie to sound real, so they do take little parts of real, and this is why they're confusing, and this is why they're such good liars, because they produce a lie out of little bits of truth, okay? And so she went back to the complaint of her father being unfair, her father having a preference for her sister and all that. And I'm letting her speak, and she expressed all that, and then I say, and that is exactly what you're doing now with my son. And she looked at me like, kind of, what the fuck are you talking about? There's no comparison. And she did say something like, it's not the same. But it's exactly the same. I said, it's exactly the same. You have a preference. Anyway, so she was listening, but she was not understanding any of what I was telling her. The logic, she could not understand the logic. So she left, and then she called. It was a very nice phone call, full of compliments about what we're painting and what we're doing and what a good job we're doing, which is all bullshit. It is bullshit. I know it's bullshit. I mean, somebody else who listens to that would say, oh, your mother's so nice. Or somebody who was listening to the phone call, she's so nice to you. She is telling you that you're good at what you're doing and all that. But I know that she's not really. All she does is she has the information that I have, that I'm painting the furniture of the rooms, okay? This is the information she has. She asked to see them. I showed them. And I was behind her, and I could see that she was not looking at the furniture. Her eyes was moving around, trying to get any more information to use later. You made too many holes, for example. I'm just saying this is an example. Too many holes on the wall because there's so many things hanging or whatever. She just looked without looking at the furniture. And she turns around and tells me, yeah, well, not much difference, is there? So, they don't give compliments, but even their criticism is like, it doesn't sound like a real criticism. No, there's not much difference. Somebody who listens knows that she didn't say anything bad, but you know, because the difference is very big. I mean, completely different, okay? There's not much difference, is there? And I said, I didn't bite the bait. I was like, I could have gone, you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Shall I bring you a picture of the one before? I just said, well, Well, the only difference is that it's not Swedish wood varnished anymore. Oh, yeah, it's nice, it's beautiful. It's like, and it's this thing that they say that they copy people, how the people talk or how the people express feelings. It's exactly there. You can feel it. It's like it's crystal clear. She doesn't find it beautiful or nice. It's words that she's heard people using, and that fits here. I'm gonna say it now, kind of thing. And then coming out, she was like, "Oh, and seeing you painting it, because the first coat was white, seeing you painting it white, I thought they might stay white. But obviously they don't stay white because I paint them grey." It's like, but she's trying to tell you that, white would have been better than what you did, but she's not saying it. This is the fucking game they play, and you need to have heard it over and over again all your life to know how it works. Nobody else from the outside knows how it works or understand how it works. I mean, you have this computer guy, he knows how a computer works inside, all the things. You give it to me, I don't know how it works. It's normal, I wouldn't know which little thing is joined to what. I haven't had any practice. I haven't studied that. So, when we're told that we can't speak about narcissism because we're not professionals, we're not therapists, we're not psychiatrists, we haven't studied anything, I said, bull crap. We know, nobody else can know better than us, really. And I know this sounds narcissistic, but nobody else has lived through that madness. Nobody else, second by second. I mean, yes, a therapist sees the patient, every 15 days, every month, Even if narcissists would go to them, how do they know about narcissism if it's not through the patients that are victims of narcissism? It's us. We are giving them the details. It's not the narcissist. You can stay a week with the narcissist and not understand how they work and how manipulative they are. So while I was doing all this taping, recording the voices and analyzing the video, sorry guys in Greek, word by word, and how it's happening and how it's going to happen and what is going to happen, okay, I was telling my husband, I mean, this is documenting, really, it's documentation on a narcissist tactics. How the hell could this ever be realized by a therapist? How could they ever realize this little work, this clever mind they have, how they organize and prepare for what they want to happen, to make it happen, because this is their whole goal. I want things to be like that. I want my daughter to be hooked on that piece of land. I'm gonna do everything that is in my power to succeed and not to let her, lose the grip. So let's go back to my son. So she tells my son this. My son is kind of confused when I tell him how I feel. And he says, well, bottom line is we want to save that 50% from a stranger, isn't it? Isn't this what we wanted? And this is the solution. So he kind of feels that, he's kind of saving the family inheritance from a stranger. So when she comes and tells me that, and she does it in a nice way at the beginning, my mother, she tells me that she will give her 50% to my son. Well, she tries to inform me in a nice way. And at the end, when she sees it doesn't work, she shouts, it's your son. So when she shouted to me, it's your son who's gonna get it. She was gone already in her angry mood, she was into her angry mood. And towards me, and you're not doing what I'm telling you. You're not bowing. So she threw in the phrase, and if you give that 50%, your 25% to your sister, everyone is going to pay for it. In brackets, only I can hear that your son is going to lose his 50%. Everyone is going to pay for it. So nobody's going to get anything if I step foot out of this property. Kind of. They were like, no, I said, if everybody loses, everybody pays for something, it's because of what you do to them. It's not because of what I decide to do with my 25%, but it's because you want to make everybody pay for everything you've been through in your life. We are here, you made us, to pay for all the pain that you've had in your life. This is the reality of it. This is the true, sad reality of those people. And like I said before, later on she proved it by bringing on the table her complaint about how her father had a preference to her sister. And how he was unfair the way he shared his fortune. Anyway, so still she left there confused of the things that I told her. And at one point I said to her, no, that was on the phone call later, so she left there. And later in the evening she called me with all the compliments on what a beautiful job you've done, and the painting is fabulous and all that. And she tells me, if I give your son that 50%, it's because I feel that I owe you. She owes me. Because you've been there for me. You've always been there for me. Every time I needed... I don't know what bullshit she was saying. It was like, I owe you because you were there for me and I could always count on you, kind of thing, 3 days before, I remind you, she didn't want me. I haven't even said what she said, but it was all the contrary. So you're kind of surprised 3 days later, the way, I'm giving her your son because I owe you, because you've been... But she couldn't, there were too many compliments there, she couldn't handle that, so she kind of added, and I'm not talking about your husband, because your husband, and she goes back to a story of my husband that explains why she hates my husband anyway, and I'm like, listen, you're not going to fool me. I said, these things are not normal, you can't criticize me one day, and then come and lift me up to the skies the next day and think so much of me the next day. It's 2 days later anyway. I said, this is madness. I said, okay, I know very well that you've been criticizing me all winter to everybody, and a couple of days ago to my sister so badly, and then you come here and you dare criticize my sister like it's a normal thing, okay, and you want to put my son in that 50%, and this is all bullshit. When she saw that it didn't work, that she couldn't hoover me back, she changed 180 degrees, 90 degrees, completely. There was another phone call where she expressed how glad she was that she had the conversation with me and that I brought her back to reality. And because she had a conversation with my sister, and my sister said, you always had a preference for your other daughter. She always got more than me and all that. So she put that in the conversation. It didn't happen like this. This is my mother. I haven't had a phone call with my sister yet. And I don't know what's happened, okay? But now it's my mother playing that. And your sister said that you got a house more than her and that it's not right. And so she's trying to create troubles between me and my sister. So I could say, what? I got a house more than my sister? What the fuck? She got money. And get angry with my sister. But it didn't work. So I will phone your son up and I have to apologize because he cannot get that 50%. Because it's right. It has to go to your sister. And I'm like, listen, you played with my son now, and you're playing around and you're really trying to convince me that you're logical and you're thinking properly, but you're not. I said, giving your daughter something one day and then taking it back and saying you're afraid, one day you're afraid of one daughter, the other day you're afraid of the other daughter and all that, this is not logic. And she answers back, in my head it is. And I'm sure that when she said it, she believed it. I said, look, enough playing around and all that. You're just a mean woman. You like to play people and all that. And she got into a kind of, what have I done to you? I don't understand. Tell me, what have I done? I could have fallen. That was a trap again. I could have fallen into the start explaining trap, which it's an open door for them. Because one conversation will leave a little gap. One thing you say can give a little gap for them to get in. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to go through that. You know very well what you do. I know very well. And everybody knows very well what you're doing. And it was never in your intention to leave my son the 50%. You came here trying to hoover me back and to get me to be interested again in that. But my mind is not changing, I said. And later on in the day, I got a phone call from my sister who said, I'm sorry, I haven't phoned for a couple of days. I couldn't handle it. I had she kind of had a nervous breakdown, yelling and screaming at my mother on the phone. She got to a point where she was crying and begging her to stop being like that with us, And my mother screamed at her. She wanted her money back and kind of told her that I'm gonna send a fax to the office so everybody can read it, or what you're doing to me and all this bullshit. Anyway, so that was the phone call she got with my sister. But in the conversation with me, on the phone call, your sister reminded me that you have one house more than her. No screaming, no yelling, nothing. She didn't mention any of the rest of the conversation. That was the little part. How I'm going to turn them around each other. And the best thing was that she did that in a different manner with my sister. She got her to a point, because my sister is not taking advantage of any of the assets, okay? So, of course, all these assets, because some are on our names, we have to pay taxes on, and loads. So my sister has also a little portion of taxes every year that comes on her name, but my mother used to pay it for so many years, and since we took over the business, I decided that it was fair that the business paid it. And last year we paid it. My mother phoned at some point, 3 days prior, to ask me, because all this is planned. This is little bits of the puzzle that they say, okay? It is. It's literally bits and pieces of a puzzle. You put them together and then, whoa, you have the whole picture. She phoned me up and asked me, what is it you paid last year for me? Pretending she didn't know what, but I paid something and all that. It says, the paper says that. And I'm saying I paid taxes, the taxes of my sister and all that. I said, I'll call you tomorrow and tell you how much it was, so you know. No, it doesn't matter, I know. So she had the paper in front of her with the amount and everything, and she knew. She just wanted to double check if that, because that was a part of the truth that she was going to use to manipulate my sister into saying what she wanted my sister to say. So she knows the number, the amount. She phones my sister up. They have all this conversation. Well, the beginning was, I've got enough of paying for you, you know, I'm paying your taxes all the time and all that, and I can't afford to pay your taxes, and you should be paying the tax, or at least send me money to pay your tax and all that. On and on and on about money, and got my sister to the point, somewhere in the middle also, she told her, and remember, you have, the business is also on your name. So yeah, information to get into your brain, and then you have all this information, and then they push. And my sister got to a point where she said, okay, fuck, from next year I want income from the business. I'm not getting any money out of all these property, you know, I mean, they're on my name, but I'm not getting any money, I'm not making any money. So you guys who are making money, you should be paying for that. But if it's like that, then I want part of the income, since it belongs to me too, okay? And then I will pay my taxes. And my mother got her answer, and she was like very quick about saying, yes, you should. I mean, when my sister said, I'm going to ask for a part of the income. Yes, you should. And my mother was convinced. She was totally convinced, because now she knew that my sister is going to come to me, asking me for part of the income, okay? I mean, but they live in such a fake world that they are convinced that they can fool everybody, okay? They are convinced, so she really thought that she was satisfied, because she thought, now mine. One daughter is going to go and ask money from the other daughter who's working the business, you know, and she's going to get mad, because she's going to say, what the fuck, you know, I'm paying your taxes, isn't that enough? Kind of. And the other daughter is going to go back to her sister and say, what? Did I get a house more? Do we forget the money you got? You know, kind of. And they create chaos this way. Unbelievable. It was unbelievable. It was really a great experience to analyze all the tactics, to see what was coming, and it suddenly went crystal clear. And this is where I'm getting to Poking Holes, who made a video, the aftermath of narcissistic mother hoovering. Okay, and I was listening to that video, and I could relate so much to it. Because this is everything she describes. This is how I felt, you know. When is it gonna stop? When is it gonna stop to hurt? When is it gonna stop to trigger? When is it gonna stop to bother? And I think I got to that point. And girl, you are going to get to that point. It's like, it's liberating. It's really liberating. I got to the point where I don't care anymore what she has to say. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't touch me. I don't care also. I feel like I don't care what people, what she's been saying to people. Or what she tells me people are saying about me, because it's all a lie. It's all in their heads. They are most probably the ones saying what they will tell you the people said. This also I realized during this period of analyzing her. The things that all winter she's been saying, people are saying that about you and your husband. People are saying that about your husband. Okay, that my husband is gay. It's not. It's her telling. When I confront her, I did a video of that thing in English. So when I confront her and said, it's not the people saying about my husband, it's you talking about my husband. She said, her answer was, she was caught. And her answer was, yeah, but I'm not saying any lies. So, it doesn't seem weird to her that I just told her, it's not the people saying, like you always tell us, it's you telling the people. She didn't deny it. It was like, yeah, but I'm not lying. Okay, so, no, crazy stuff. And and it's liberating. It's liberating. You do get to the point where it's more funny than anything else. It's like, I'm sure she can get to me. Okay, I'm sure she will be able to get to me if I let her get to me. Because this is the boundaries. This is the boundaries we're talking about. The boundaries is not about building a wall between them and you. The wall is see-through. It's transparent. Only you know it. It's not a real wall. So it's like a ball that bounces on the transparent wall and goes back. It doesn't go through you. And for some reason, it doesn't touch you anymore. So, how did I manage that? I think that I managed that the day that I decided that my hopes crumbled. And so when there's many moments in our lives where our hopes, they crumble. Well, that moment when they do crumble, don't try to pick them up. Don't try and pick those hopes up. The hopes that have to do with the narcissist. Don't try and pick them up and fix them. Just leave them down on the ground and jump on those hopes, really destroy those hopes. Once those hopes do not exist, it's sad to say, but it's the only kind of, I think is the only, it's sad to say, because usually we want to we want to grab the hopes, they keep us going. Most of the time hopes keeps us going, but in this situation, the hope is the chain, the chain that ties us with these people, that ties us to misery, that ties us to constant pain and disappointment. Once those hopes are not there, I don't hope that my mother will understand me anymore. I don't hope that my mother will show me real love. I don't hope that my mother will accept me for who I am. I don't hope for my mother's encouragement. I don't anymore. It's gone. It's gone, and it's liberating. It's a feeling of freedom, I tell you. That was a long time, but I had a lot to say.